pisses me to that right now because if you come forward with that right there and you're saying that and you've been hiding it for 2 days, I have a problem with it. When you give a person a choice, then it puts it all back on them, and they want to believe that hey, they're not a monster. That
어떤 것은 검은색, 어떤 것은 하얀색, 색안경을 끼고 보면 넌 착한 사람이고 걘 나쁜 사람이고 재미없는 너의 세상은
I would sit around and do it big. I mean, okay, start back when you're in the bar. Dude pulls up, and he gets in right. And I just pull out with the way that I see him pull out of the seat. Where did they go south? You went out? I don't know. They're just out towards Walmart. Okay, we're going south. He pulls up into some sort of looking like house little area or something, like a house or something. And by the time I get out, Emily barely had any clothes on, and I pull up, we start, leaving, and he comes running at me with a pipe, she jumps in front, right here, right ahead. I mean, I was like, oh, he comes in, I just got the car, it's burned out,
Okay, when he told us that story, we're getting closer. But he's still full of crap. Now he's putting himself around what happened, but he's still minimizing his involvement.
I waited it out because I didn't know what else to do. I've never been in this situation. I've seen movies and all the 40 dates and stuff. I mean, I'm guilt by association. The only part that was believable was the fact of where the house was. Show me where the house is. Is there a creek down? Was she weeding? It was like there was blood. Our focus at that point was if he knows where the house is, show us the house, because we believe that something happened at the house and we're going to find it.
Pretty quiet drive. Road early in the back. Anticipation. There's still that hope. There's always that hope from there. Still alive.
Can you show us where that location is? Show me where the house is. Is that creek down? Was she bleeding? It was like there was blood. Robert Irving is the main focus of the investigation. He is our suspect. He told us the first best story of, hey, I followed this truck out, and this guy got out swung and whacked hits her in the head and she's gone. The only part that was believable in that story was the fact of where the house could be. If you know where the house is, show us the house. There's always a hope that you're going to find the person alive. Maybe she just injured, she's laying out there, and we can find her and get her help.
We drove out to 31. It's approximately 3 miles off the Loving Highway. And Robert Irving pointed out a residence kind of up on a hill. Pull up to it, there's 2 pilasters. This property is old. House appeared to be in there a long time.
We get out of the car. Robert actually starts to walk with us when I tell him just stay at the car and we'll come back. Kind of looking around, and we notice these 2 drag marks in the road going back behind the house. And Lieutenant Blackman started following those tracks.
I continue to walk down the road, and it kind of just wraps around an old tin building. As I walk around that building, and I look up, towards the north there, I can see an obvious body. It was a pretty bad scene, a lot of blood, especially around the head area. Tattoos matched. It was a lifeless body, and it was empty. It wasn't good to see.
The first thing that came to my mind was their children or their parents, and how I was going to break that news to them.
was Tuesday, late in the afternoon. They called us to
Ah!
tell us that they had found Emily and that she was not alive. Don and I just hugged each other. She said, well, let's get one alone now. Emily, she had a brother who was killed in a vehicle crash 2 years prior to her death. They lost both their children.
I returned to where Robert Early was in my car smoking a cigarette. And I told him at that point, we found her. And he tried to act surprised, and he's smoking his cigarette, leaning up against my car. And he says, really? You found her? And I said, yeah, she's deceased. Absolutely no emotion. He just looked at me, kind of ducked his head, and continued smoking. I told the lieutenant that, hey, I'm going to go back to the station, try to find out the rest of the story. The lieutenant looks at me and says, you think that's a good idea? I was probably a wreck at that point.
There was just a little too much emotion involved with Sergeant Rennie. I just felt it'd probably be better to get somebody else in there to work a different angle, to get everything out. We had partial truth. We needed it all. It's hard to move forward without the confession.
Alright, man. I know you haven't talked to me yet, okay? Like I said, my name's Alan.
I selected Detective Sanchez based off of the way that I've seen him interview before, introducing somebody else, somebody that would build a different type of rapport, might be a little more effective in being able to get that confession.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not here to cut deals. I can't make promises. I'm not authorized to do that. But the district attorney's office won't do anything either right now until after we talk to you and give you the opportunity to tell your side and tell the truth.
That was not just that guy can talk and talk, and he didn't have any problems throwing himself under the bus to get what we need.
Please don't lag on me phone.
It's because I'm a whole man. Alright, straight up. And it's because I've been in different relationships and stuff, man. So I know how it goes, and it can get real heated. You can get jealous. Jealousy is a powerful thing, man, especially when you're drunk.
Yeah, and I told him, yeah, I'm a whole bag. I wanted him to see the human side of me, you know, like I'm just a regular person.
You know what I'm saying? I'll let you down. Well, man, I hear you. I'm not trying to put that up. I'm just giving instances and examples. Okay, that's it. Okay, we're just talking. Yeah. So I understand how that stuff goes, man. I really do. I understand how, especially when you're drunk, you're like, you know, you get pissed. And obviously you were pissed that night. You were like, what the hell, you know?
I wanted him to understand that I understood how it was to be drunk and maybe not be in control of your emotions. I wanted him to feel like, man, this guy does understand. Yeah, you can lose your temper and almost make him think that I felt like it's okay.
Does the severity of the crime, is there, if I, you know, to not including myself in saying anything, but from your standpoint, would I ever see my kid again?
His voice, it was like shaky. You could just hear it. I remember being able to see his heartbeat in his neck, you know, in his vein.
So you gotta understand something, okay? I also want a cigarette. Oh man, I've got you a couple cigarettes, yeah. So I smoke too, so we'll smoke a cigarette, then I'm tired of it, dude. God, I don't want to. Let's go for everyone. Go back and tell me everything. Then I can remember.
You know, there was a recorder that I had put inside my pocket just in case we went outside.
Emily can get. She's so strong, and she's bigger than any other girl I've been with, and a lot stronger. And she, after she was in the car, I did all that stuff, and I'll retell you all.
I was nervous. He confessed to me outside and it wasn't recorded.
I wasn't gonna be able to use it. So as I'm going down the stairs behind him, I'm reaching in my pocket and I'm looking for a button to push to turn it on. But I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was recording or not, so I was actually very nervous. Since we have limited evidence, we're not gonna be able to get a conviction without the confession. You know, I didn't want to mess that up.
Your growth story has been stuck in 1984, but today, that script gets really big.
2025. The year B2C companies have their data in one place. Know your customers better and grow your business faster.
Maggie wants more without spending more. So she got Blink Outdoor 4 cameras with up to 2 years of powerful battery life to get through all of life's seasons. With more convenience.
Thank you so much.
And more peace of mind. Blink and get more. Maggie has always wanted more. So she got Blink Smart Home Security with the Blink app. Only the Blink app gives you Blink Moments, which stitches together footage from all your cameras. So you can see what happened in an instant. Oh, boomer. Get more of the story with the app that gives you more. Blink and get more. This is Maggie. Maggie has always wanted more power, more security, more value. So when Maggie discovered Blink Smart Home Security with more battery life, more simplicity, and more convenience without spending more, well, it's given Maggie what she's always wanted. More. Blink and get more.
I was nervous about messing the case up. If he confessed to me outside and it wasn't recorded, I wasn't gonna be able to use it. We're outside having a smoke, and that's when he started to talk to me about what happened.
착한 사람이고 내 나쁜 사람이고 재미없는 너의 세상 큰 흑백 소리
I wasn't sure if I had the recorder on or not. I was actually already thinking, how am I gonna get him to tell me everything all over again? And I was stressed out because just in case the recording wasn't going, I needed to take him back inside and recap it in front of the camera.
Let's start from the beginning. And no bullshit, no nothing. Okay? No bullshit, no nothing.
It's gonna be kind of hard to go, okay, so when you said you kicked her square in the face, can you, go through that with me one more time? You can't do that. You're leading them. And everything that is said after that is not admissible in court. I didn't want to mess up any chance of ever getting any kind of, justice, it'd be my fault.
We were arguing a little bit, but it wasn't big. The real thing wasn't that big. What was the argument about? She said that, some dude said that if I didn't treat her right, he didn't home. And I was like, whatever, whatever. If that's what you want, go ahead and leave. And then when she just, left,
She went to the room. A short time later, he ended up going to the room.
and she was like, I'm getting my, and I'm leaving. We're done, it's over, I'm leaving you, this and that. And I was like, really? And then she was wanting to drive. That's what started the whole altercation in the room. She wanted me to drive and drove all the way back and forth. I said, no, you're not leaving. She started going crazy with me, and we started, pushing around, and that's when she drove home and beat the hell out of me. And it swept me back. And I put my head against the wall. But that's when I got out of here. But
show really any emotion. Not once did he cry. He talks about what he did to her, like nothing. That's when I started thinking I'm dealing with somebody that.
So many shades of gray. Oh,
breathing out a weird breath, and I was,
But she was knocked out.
yeah, and I didn't know what to do, and so I was like, oh my god, oh my god, and I just really hard, drove out there. So we came beyond that guy's house, she came to, and she was coming at me, and I grabbed that intercom, and I grabbed that and whacked it with it, and I whacked it with it a couple times.
How did you grab her back there? I know it's like thing to think about, but did you grab her and drag her back, or did you grab her with something and drag her back? What did you have for the rope? The rope?
It was just a, like a slip, and then just threw it around the door, shut the door.
Tied a rope around her neck, put the rope and jammed it in the door jamb of the car, and drug her body behind the car.
We go out to the crime scene, and those drag marks would extend for roughly 510 feet. That distance, it's longer than a football field right now. And then you find Emily. It's something that I will never forget.
When I found out what actually happened to Emily, I was sitting in a restaurant. I dropped my phone, and I literally slid into the floor under the table at the restaurant. I just melted into the floor.
What?
Nobody wants their best friend to die. Nobody wants their best friend to die the way she did.
The manner of death was blunt force trauma to the head. They determined that after dragging her with the rope that she was still alive because the injuries sustained while she was being drugged by the vehicle, she was bleeding at that point, so the heart was still pumping. And then we hit her in the back of the head with the pump, so she's deceased.
When we saw her body, I just remember just thinking, man, this guy, like who does this to somebody else? And he should be basically torture her, is what it amounts to.
In the case of Emily Lambert, our office sought life without parole for the first time since the death penalty was repealed. We had to prove that when he took her out to that location, she was still alive, that she was being taken against her will, and the kidnapping was committed with intent.
The hardest part for me during the trial was to find Robert pocketed his phone, and I guess it made a call to Emily's phone and recorded, I guess, what were her last words. It was hard. It was really hard.
It was a great case to prosecute because they've done such a wonderful job of investigating it. And that confession is what gave us the ability to seek that life without parole.
I really had a hard time interviewing him and doing the case. And I'm glad he's gonna be locked up forever. Yeah.
the detectives worked so hard to
of gray. Oh, what the chaos in the water soon be so.
could have gone on and her body not be recovered and us never to know what happened.
When we finally wrapped everything up, it's a feeling of relief, but bear with me. Tough deal. Put closure on it for the family.
Of gray. Oh, what the chaos in the water soon be so.
It was a very emotional time. It's the first time that I've ever told a child that I was gonna bring the parent home, when in fact, I brought them home, but they were deceased. So it hit home pretty hard and continues to this day. We try to stay in contact, with the family as much as we can.
After the trial,
Water soon be so. Oh.
and Emily's favorite color was green. So they decorated everything in green, and they had gifts for the children. We had all the officers there, and we wanted them to have a positive memory.
We felt like they grew so close to Emily and felt like they knew her, and we wanted them to know the girls, and we wanted the girls to know and to appreciate what they did, for us and for them.
I think the water soon be so. Oh, could
They gave all of us one, and it says, remembering Emily Lambert, Lucky 23. We called Emily Lucky, that was her nickname, because she was lucky in life, usually, ironically, and she liked the number 23 since I knew her. So all of her friends and her family all have those Lucky 23 tattoos.
I hate this new kid. Wait, how did I like this?
Kieran is your average teenage vampire, but one day he gets stuck in a group project with the new kid Mason. At first, they couldn't stop beefing every time they locked up.
She's our youngest. She got a hit the first time at bat, and the bases were loaded, so she got an RBI. We're hoping that she stays with it, because Em would have been pleased.
For more about criminal confessions, go to oxygen.com. The victims had no idea what was coming.
Somebody was in that back seat that was extremely upset with the two people in the front seat.
My last two words to her was, Missy, you're gonna get killed behind you.
could easily
Was it a drug deal gone bad? Was it a robbery? We need to get on this right away. We need to find this guy. I'm starting to think
could easily.
if in fact it's true. Waterloo is the fifth largest community in the state of Iowa.
It's a blue-collar town. It's people that put their 8 hours in and go home and want to be with their families. But it really doesn't matter where you're
But Junior was so protective, he kept that from me. You know, if I asked him questions, he'd be like, Mom, you don't want to know that.
Anissa Schroeder was my baby sister. Anissa was never the type of person to do things to hurt nobody, never harm nobody. Me and Anissa had the best relationship until she started.
So I was afraid for his life at times. And I told him, I said, you can choose life or you can choose death.
Someone ran into someone else's good. It's a Chevy truck. Okay, if there's still people inside it. There's blood everywhere.
They dispatched out police and fire and ambulance for a motor vehicle accident in the 1300 block of Donald Street. We approached the vehicle. There was a female driver and an adult male passenger. Both of them appeared to have gunshot wounds.
Man.
It appeared to us that
Benar ada glitched.
shot them from behind. So it was a little unnerving to know.
Okay, don't glitch too
I
much.
had no idea what was coming at the time. Shortly after 11:30, I got a phone call from Sergeant Crowe advising me to report to work that there had been a homicide. So I got out and made contact with the supervisor on scene, and right off the bat, he told me that this was going to be my first homicide as a primary investigator. So it kind of kicked it up a notch for me.
When I got up there to the crime scene, there was numerous squad cars. There was already investigators on scene, an ambulance.
The male victim of the car was identified as Ronald Sculler. His nickname was Junior. He was 28-year-old from Waterloo. The female victim of the car was identified as Anissa Schroeder, 18 years old, a young gal from town. And it appeared that they were boyfriend and girlfriend.
That morning, the phone rang. It was my daughter. She said, Mom, there's been a murder and they say it's Junior. But that moment, my life stood still. Looked like that all of a sudden we all started moving in slow motion. Looked like we couldn't get out there fast enough.
I went to the ambulance to identify Anissa. To have the body bag unzipped. And your daughter's in there. And that was one of the worst things I've ever done in my life.
When I walked up and I looked in the ambulance and he was just laying there. I wanted to feel something. I couldn't feel nothing. I couldn't feel my hands no more. I couldn't feel my feet. That's one of the hardest things for me as a mother to have to go through.
It's gut-wrenching to watch a person go through that, especially a mother of any child. Then the families certainly deserve to have the person that took their loved one be brought to justice.
It was very important to me that the police find out who did this to my child. And when Camerati came in, he shook my hand and he said, I'm going to assure you that we're going to keep going until we find who did this thing.
At this particular scene, there was a very long trail of blood that led down the street from behind the vehicle. There was also footprints alongside that. So it looked like the shooting happened. Then the vehicle kept moving, the blood trail started, and then the person that was in the back seat got out of the vehicle and then ran along that same path before they turned off and went into an area of an apartment that was nearby. It was my first homicide case as the lead investigator, so I immediately looked to Moeller for some guidance. Lynn Moeller was a long-time investigator, over 25 years in investigations at Waterloo Police Department, so Lynn Moeller's kind of a legend around here. One thing about Waterloo cops, you've seen our share of dead people.
It's just good old police work. When you go to a crime scene, always look past the crime scene. I walked down this driveway. It was about 150 feet long or so. There was a car. I don't know what drew me. And on the left rear passenger, there was a smudge of blood, a good smudge. And these two people came out and they said that was their car. And they proceeded to tell me out there in the parking lot that they were leaving earlier. And this guy came running down the driveway from the street. And he was all out of breath. And it was somewhere between asking them and telling them to give him a ride. And he got in that left rear car door. And that's where the blood was. He wanted to be taken down the road a ways. And then it dropped him off. The last thing they saw of him was going towards the street.
Because
The next step in our process was to find out who this unidentified person was. We went through leads, talking to people who might know something. It was quite apparent that Junior was involved in drugs. He had been known to be selling marijuana. And in fact, at the scene, there was a gun in the vehicle, some money, and some marijuana. It opens up a whole lot of possibilities as far as suspects and motivations for this particular shooting. Was it a drug deal gone bad? Was it a robbery? Was it a dispute over who's selling to who? That's what we need to find out. And we got some information about a friend of Junior's, named Deshaun Holmes. I went out to where Sean lived, and in fact,
because I'm
right in front of his house. I got out of the car, walked up the sidewalk to him, and he immediately confronted me with, "What's taking you so long? No way to talk to you."
because I'm a villain.
My interview style has always been to try to keep the person really comfortable. And I deal with people from all walks of life. I've never felt it was beneficial for me to talk down to somebody. Sean wanted to tell me about a person named Tay. He wanted to give me some information about him and Junior and Friday morning. Tay told you he lived in their car. In the truck. The Rerun. And he bought 2 pounds of fentanyl. How close are he and Junior?
Because I'm a villain.
After the information that Sean had given us, we immediately wanted to talk to Tay. They went out to do some surveillance on him to see if he was moving or not. They quickly saw him, and Tay was stopped with his girlfriend Ashley Edwards. They were brought down to the station.
We all pretend to be the heroes on the good side. Oh, yeah. 어떤 것은 검은색, 어떤 것은 하얀색. 색안경을 끼고 보면 어떡해. 넌 착한 사람이고, 걘 나쁜 사람이고. 재미없는 너의 세상 흑백. So many shades of grey. 어떻게 아직도 모를 수 있어. 그림 사이 fades away. 아무런 나를 좋아하지 마. Because I'm a villain. When
Tay is a confidential informant. But on the other hand, there was a drug connection between Junior and Tay. At this point in the investigation, we didn't know if Tay was a witness or a suspect.
Soft pretzel crust and delicious cheddar cheese sauce. Pretzel crust is back at Little Caesars.
Yeah.
Did you finish those reports? Brian, look at me. I'm serious.
Brian's an animal for pretzel crust.
It's back. crazy ideas.
Without further ado, I give you Stella.
Because getting what you deserve isn't always guaranteed.